Hello, students and educators. We are so excited to have you join us for Career Exposure Week. My name is Chelsea Hunt, and I am the Executive Director of Work-Based Learning and Industry Engagement at the State Department, and I will be your moderator for this session. We will hear from our guest speaker, Stephanie Cameron, Community Relations Administrator at AAON Inc., and then we will have a Q&A session that I will help field any questions to Stephanie. So if you have a microphone, you can use that, or if you need to use a chat box, you can use that as well. This session will be recorded and will be housed within the 2020 Oklahoma Career Exposure Week online module. Also, we will send out links to the recorded sessions to everyone who registered and via our agency newsletters. Please join me in welcoming Stephanie Cameron, Community Relations Administrator at AAON Inc.
Hi, everyone. So glad to be sharing information with you all this morning, and so glad that you all are interested in learning more about different career pathways. Today, I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about manufacturing overall, some of our HVAC pathways, and then specifically about AAON. So in my role as community relations, I do various things, including government affairs, communications, working with nonprofits, and some of our team member engagement. So I do a lot of work in promoting manufacturing pathways. And we're going to try asking some questions and see how this goes to see if there's enough response time. But can anyone tell me the definition of manufacturing? And maybe you can put it in the chat box or answer through the video.
The building and distribution of things.
Okay, the building and distribution of things. So a lot of times it's involving building, making, creating. So those are all things that are related to manufacturing. And so when you think through some of the things that are manufactured, it's actually everything around us, everything that we see and use. So from your computers to your desk, to your shoes, your phone, your water bottle, and people are involved in all of those processes. And so we take it for granted that there's a lot of raw materials that are going into the things that we're using on a daily basis. And then a lot of people are not familiar with what types of manufacturing jobs are out there. People might know welder or an engineer, but there are lots of varieties and opportunities in the field. So it's everything from a chemical tester to an assembler to someone working in IT, for example. So lots of variety. And then within Oklahoma, there are lots of manufacturing companies, and a lot of times you are not seeing or learning more about them because you're not openly invited to tour because that's something that's still new and being developed. And so there are lots of manufacturing companies within our state that do cool things. And so I'll be talking more about that later in the presentation. And then also, just as a reflection point, think about the things that you're interested in right now. And maybe if you have done any work over the summer or work around the house, or what classes you like the most. So whether it be art, health, shopping, so there are positions called buyers that all day long they are shopping for the company. You might like criminal justice, and a lot of times there are security positions that you might not have even thought about would be available within manufacturing. And then lots of technology. And so these interest areas, so if you say, I like science right now, and these interests are going to vary over time, there are positions in some industries that you never would have thought about. I do public relations for a manufacturing company, and so most people don't know that that's even available. So when you think about drafting, purchasing, accounting, human resources, just being aware of what you like to do is helpful in determining a path forward. And then I'm sure some of you have thought about what you want your life to be like when you grow up. So having a vision of what you want for your future is really powerful. And so, you know, you can raise your hand. I can see some of you. Who wants like a nice house? Yeah. I see hands. Yes. And then a nice car. All right. Everybody, I'm car shopping right now. A boat, maybe a motorcycle. There are lots of, you know, things that, you know, this is what you envision yourself in the future. Can anyone tell me what minimum wage is right now?
Say it again. $7.50.
$7.50. So it's $7.25, which is very close. And then what do you think the starting wage is in manufacturing?
$8 an hour.
$8 an hour. So it's more than that.
$12 an hour.
$12 an hour. So usually it is between $12 and $16 an hour. You will see some variety in there, especially depending, you know, and that would be starting. So some people start a person with no experience at something like $17 an hour. So when you think about $7.25 versus say $15 an hour, that's double what you were making. Does anyone know the average cost of a new car?
$20,000.
$20,000, so it's more than that. Did I hear a 30? So that is the average cost of a new car. And when you're thinking about making $725, I did see a $35,000 come in. So that's another, you are right along that average. And so when you're thinking about how quickly you can pay for things, it's good to consider what your average income would be. And then any guesses on the salary for an average salary for Oklahoma manufacturing employees?
$14.
$14, so this would be for the year. And then I saw 44,000, so it's more than that.
$55,000.
55,000, and then I saw 62 come in. So it's actually, and this may have gone up because this was from last quarter, it's 67,000. So that's everybody from CEO to entry level, and that's about $24,000 more than other private industries. So when you're thinking about living in Oklahoma, that's a good wage because we have a low cost of living. And currently there are over 140,000 people working in manufacturing, and that is, it is also changing dynamically because of the large number of people retiring. And so baby boomers. So I know for your demographic, you're like, okay, boomer and all of that stuff. But what age do people normally retire? I'll ask that.
63.
Around 60.
60, I heard. So it's normally 65. Some people do retire earlier. Some people do retire later. And the other factor to consider is that the average age of a high-skilled worker is 56. So within the next 10 years, you're going to have a large number of highly skilled, very smart, very well-paid people leaving the workforce. And so as I mentioned, Oklahoma is a manufacturing hub, and it is a wealth-creating industry, meaning it's bringing money in. And so we have lots of manufacturing companies related to aerospace, oil and gas, and lots of new technology coming online, lots of transportation too. And I think the cool thing about working in manufacturing is that there's lots of technology. We're solving problems every day, and you get to be creative. And in Oklahoma, we do make cool things. Like there are companies that make top secret spy cameras. There are companies that make flight simulators. There are companies making drones. So lots of opportunity. And then when you think about what that entry level is to get into manufacturing, it's a fairly low threshold to start. And so the minimum requirement is a high school diploma or GED. And then for some of the skilled positions, we might be looking for some technical training or an associate's degree. And then some of the management positions, so when you start moving up, it might require a bachelor's, a master's, or even a PhD. And then manufacturers provide great benefits, including, this is one to remember, is tuition reimbursement. And so that means that when you start working with an employer and you want to go to school, they will help you pay for it. And that is a way to come out of college debt-free. Also offering health insurance, gym memberships, wellness plans, and then the opportunity for advancement. So a lot of times the employers are looking for the same things that your teachers are. And so it's that willingness to learn, it's attendance, it's respect, communication skills, and then always thinking in terms of continuous improvement because you don't stop learning. And so our company, we manufacture commercial HVAC products, which is heating, ventilation, air conditioning. And this is important because none of us like to be in a super hot building or to be freezing inside of a building. And so we keep places comfortable. And we are on the leading edge of efficient products that help minimize excess energy usage. And so these are some of our product families. Some of these sizes are deceiving because they're large enough to walk inside. So everything from water source heat pumps to air handling units, mechanical rooms. So some of our customers would be like the Nike headquarters, which was pretty cool. Lots of variety there. And so our manufacturing location, Tulsa is headquarters, and so we occupy about 2 million square feet here. We have a new research and development facility on our campus, and then we have Longview, Texas, and Parkville, Missouri. This is a little bit of an inside view of what our manufacturing facility looks like. This is our water source heat pump line, and so that's the newest line. It's mezzanine, so it's 2 levels of manufacturing. And then we had our opening of our new research and development facilities. It's our innovation center. So we do lots of testing, and you can see we have the world's largest sound testing chamber to be able to test equipment. And then we have an environmental chamber that can create rain and snow inside, which is pretty cool. And we also have weather testing chambers that can go, way below freezing and way like Sahara Desert feeling. So lots of simulations that can happen, and it's pretty cool. We employ over 2,400 people, and these individuals represent 39 different countries from around the world. We like to look at our stats often, and so looking at our stats of 16% baby boomers, 41% Gen X, primarily millennial right now, and then we're about the industry average on male versus female, and then the remainder of our demographic breakdown. Education opportunities. Education is something that's really important to us. We do lots of leadership training. We offer English as a second language on site. We offer Spanish on site. We offer industry-specific training, and then we have a AAON Academy. So education, after you graduate, you don't stop learning. We do lots of volunteer engagement, lots of education, lunch and learn. We have employee resource groups. We do team sports, so we have softball, basketball, bowling, and we also have a nonprofit board placement program. These are a few examples of some of our team members. We call it our Aim High at AAON campaign. And so this is Tanisha, and she started as a production control scheduler. She's now a planning manager. And this is Ning Singh. He had started, so we have very large, expensive sheet metal machines, and so he had started as a sheet metal machine trainee, and now he's a programmer. And then this is Kwana. He's actually been promoted again since this photo was taken. He had started in Tech 1 Final Wire, so that was like wiring for some of the machinery, and he is now assistant plant manager. And then this is Angela. She started in Final Wire, and now she's working in customer service. And then this is Dwight. I think he's been promoted again since this photo. He started as a quality team leader, and now he's our risk manager. So there's another position that you might not have known within manufacturing. And that is the end of my slide. but I would be happy to answer any questions. I know that was lots of information, but would love to hear, what you all are thinking about your futures, or if you have any questions about our company or any of the things that we do.
Thank you, Stephanie, for that. Do we have any questions? Very informative, by the way, as well. Do we have any questions from Tallahena, Fort Supply, or Dover students for Stephanie?
How is the workplace environment?
I didn't quite catch that.
She asked, how is the workplace environment?
Okay. So we have, as I mentioned, about 2 million square feet in Tulsa. And so the majority of that is production facility that we do have offices. So our engineering team members would be in a cube type setting. And then production, we operate in production lines. So everyone would be kind of spread out according to what their role is on that line. And then if they're doing any cross training, they would vary and bounce around in that area. And we have forklift drivers that kind of buzz around everywhere. So it varies based on what your role is. We have something called line engineers, and so they're the ones that are kind of a liaison between engineering and the line, and so they would be going back and forth, like from the office area to production.
Thank you. Any final questions for Stephanie?
Have you ever done anything design related?
Have I ever done anything design related? Yes. Now, my design was probably more on the graphic design side, so I do some of our communications, and so being able to lay out like our newsletter and some of those things are some of the skills that I use. And then we have drafters, designers in our engineering department who are working with, designing either new pieces of equipment. We do custom manufacturing, and so it's not all cookie cutter the same. So we have to be able to adapt and shift to our customers' needs.
Okay, well, that looks like it's all the questions we have for today. Stephanie, thank you so much for sharing even further about the industry of manufacturing. We appreciate that. For all of my students from Dover, Tallahena, and Fort Supply, thank you so much for joining us for the 2020 Oklahoma Career Exposure Week. We hope you had a wonderful time learning more about industries in Oklahoma, and that hopefully they align to the career pathways that you want to move forward to in the future. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will see you next year for the 2021 Oklahoma Career Exposure Week. So have a great day, and I'll say bye.
Bye.